management, and advertisers.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend out there. Back at you. Hello, everyone. PTL Nation out there listening, watching on my YouTube page at PTL Radio Show. Ever so growing. I think we just passed 105,000 followers. So we appreciate you guys. Of course, the Occupy Democrats Network, the Washington Press Network, the FMAM Dow KSHP, and of course the website, as you see on the bottom of the screen, pushingthelimits.live, where you can make donations and buy merchandise. And of course, the YouTube Super Chat will be going strong today as well. I got to be honest with you, I'm a little heated right now because I just did the Piers Morgan show again. And I was on with Jack Posobiec. And I was also on with a guy by the name of Brandon Tatum, who is the male version of Candace Owens. Now, I was told that this will not be airing until tomorrow. But so I don't want to speak too much about it. But briefly, before I get to the biggest news of the last 24 hours, which we will get to, and also I want to announce that in hour number 2, somebody that I've been wanting to interview for a very, very long time. She's a former Fox News and CNBC contributor. She does such a great job on CNN. The awesome Julie is going to be joining us in hour number 2. I just think she's great on these MAGA panels, and she just gives it to Scott Jennings. So she's going to be joining us in hour number 2. Julie's fantastic. You'll appreciate it. All right, so before we get into the audio and the news of the day, and we're going to be talking about this $400 million gift from the Saudis, a luxury jet, for lack of a better term. So, yeah, I was on the Piers Morgan show this morning. We taped it. And the discussion was about, of course, this despicable woman who called a 5-year-old child the N-word. And I made the argument that anybody who has donated to her is despicable. What does Jack Posobiec do? He uses whataboutism, and he talks about Carmelo Anthony, the young man who stabbed and sadly killed a classmate. We don't know whether he's guilty or not. We know he's been charged, but we don't know if he's guilty or not. And Jack Posobiec says to me on Pierce this morning, what about that? How do you feel about the people donating there? I said, first of all, that's whataboutism, and one has nothing to do with the other. And second of all, we don't even know if he committed a crime. He was charged with a crime. If he's convicted and people support him after that, I have a problem with that. But what if he's found not guilty? So that's how I feel about that. And then Jack Posobiec called me a liberal. That's the go-to for MAGA Republicans. Now, obviously, it's not true. I'm a registered independent who's anti-Donald Trump, and I started to lean to the left on social issues. But I corrected the record for him, and it made him look like a fool. And then the topic came up about Kanye West being censored on Spotify, which, by the way, I agree with. You know, anybody who has songs and lyrics that have Heil Hitler in it and blatantly anti-Semitic rhetoric, I think it's great what Spotify is doing. Now, of course, Jack Posobiec, again, a page from the MAGA right defending Kanye West. And, of course, I disagreed with him on that. And then there was a point where Brandon said I had Trump derangement syndrome. Now, Brandon Tatum is the male version of Candace Owens. He said I have Trump derangement syndrome. That's when I said he had TFS, Trump fellatio syndrome, and he lost his you-know-what. They lost it when I said that. So wait, I have Trump derangement syndrome, and I'm a liberal. Those are the two go-tos for MAGA morons who don't have an argument. And then they said I was exposed. How so? How was I exposed? You guys have two arguments from anybody who disagrees with you. You're either a liberal, a lefty lunatic, as Trump would say, or you have Trump derangement syndrome. That was their argument on the Piers Morgan show. I think they look completely pathetic, and I look forward to playing some audio cuts from the show for you, but it's not going to air until tomorrow on his show, so I probably won't be playing the clips until Wednesday, but we will definitely do that. I'm looking forward to that. John Fogelsang's also going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. I'm certainly looking forward to talking to John, and we have some more special guests throughout the remainder of the week, and I'll update you on that a little bit later in the show. But I want to get to the biggest news, certainly the biggest news of the day in the last 24 hours, and that is Donald Trump appears to be receiving a gift from the Saudis, from Qatar. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, $400 million luxury jet in the air. And this comes just after he announced that he's building a $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar. And now they announced that they're just giving him this $400 million private jet. The American presidency, ladies and gentlemen, as far as we know it, is absolutely for sale to the highest bidder. And Trump, according to him, very public and transparent transaction on the jet grift only came to light after confidential sources told ABC about it. So they were not open about it. I mean, this is the most blatant example, at least in my opinion, of bribery in modern presidential history. Can you recall anything else worse than this? I certainly can't. And explain to me how Bob Menendez, who I don't defend, by the way, got 11 years in prison for accepting gold bars from Egypt, which, again, I don't condone and I don't feel bad for him. Why can't Trump get 11 years in jail for accepting a Boeing jumbo jet from Qatar? Could somebody please explain that to me? Well, this was Donald Trump today trying to explain it to the American people. And it's very interesting because, again, he's saying it's a brilliant thing because who wouldn't accept a free plane? Listen to this.
And it's going to be a while before we get them. And I think Qatar, who has really, we've helped them a lot over the years in terms of security and safety. I think they, and very, very nicely, and I have a lot of respect for the leadership and for the leader, Qatar. And I think they knew about it because they buy Boeings. They buy a lot of Boeings. And they knew about it. And they said, we would like to do something. And if we can get a 747 as a contribution to our Defense Department to use during a couple of years while they're building the other ones, I think that was a very nice gesture. Now, I could be a stupid person and say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out. We'll take one, too. And it helps us out because, again, we're talking about we have 40-year-old aircraft. The money we spend, the maintenance we spend on those planes to keep them tippy-top is astronomical. You wouldn't even believe it. So I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much. I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture. And I think it was a gesture because of the fact that we have helped and continue to, we will continue to, all of those countries, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, and others. We keep them safe. If it wasn't for us, they probably wouldn't exist right now. And I think this was just a gesture of good faith.
So Donald Trump is willing to risk national security because he doesn't like the interior of Air Force One. That's really what's going on here. Does anybody believe that they would just hand over a $400 million jumbo jet and they don't expect anything in return? It's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life that people would actually believe that. And then a reporter asked him, do you plan on keeping this after you leave office? Now, obviously, I believe that. Listen to Donald Trump's response to it.
And I think this was just a gesture of good faith. And I don't get it. Someday it'll be like Ronald Reagan. They decommission them. They get to a certain age, they decommission them. It'll go to my library. They're talking about going to my library in years out. But I thought it was a great gesture. And it's something that was done by Ronald Reagan. They actually decommissioned the plane and he put it in his library. And it actually has made the library, I think, a Boeing 707. It's actually made the library more successful. So it was good.
Do you plan to use the plane after you leave office?
No, I don't. No, it would go directly to the library after I leave office. I wouldn't be using it. No.
Yeah. Does anybody believe him? Is there anybody out there that believes that Donald Trump would just give up anything, let alone a $400 million jumbo jet that was a gift from the Saudi government? Is there anybody that believes him? I'll tell you, I'm the first person to say, no, I don't believe him. I don't think he's giving it up at all. And then comes Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who says Mr. Operation Warp Speed can't be bought when, ladies and gentlemen, literally, as we speak, he's being bought to the highest bidder. Keep in mind that Donald Trump has business deals with over 20 foreign entities across the world. But yet we're led to believe that the presidency can't be bought. Listen to what Brainworm had to say about this.
President who is a man of his word, who has the courage. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry, too. I think they gave you $100 million. But he can't be bought.
He can't be bought? Really? He can't? He just was. And then Brainworm goes on and starts talking about how President Trump stands up to oligarchies. I'm laughing at this because it's so ridiculous. He literally just accepted a $400 million jumbo jet from an oligarchy. And RFK Jr. has the gall in the same press conference earlier today to say there's nobody that's more than willing to stand up to oligarchies than Donald Trump. Listen to this.
And he is standing here for the American people. I don't know what, there's writers like Lord Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich who are saying that President Trump is on this side of the oligarchs. There has never been a president more willing to stand up to the oligarchs than President Donald Trump.
Yeah, nothing says standing up to oligarchs more than accepting a $400 million private airplane. You frickin' imbecile, you brainworm fool, you nut job. Go back to beheading your whales and staging bear murders in Central Park, you idiot. Is there any reasonable person out there with an IQ over 20 that thinks that this does not harm our national security? Is there any reasonable person out there that doesn't think this is a you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and he's been bought? Again, as I mentioned earlier, $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar he just announced he was building. And then do you remember when those 4 American soldiers who lost their lives, who paid the ultimate price, were sent home and they were honored? And Donald Trump skipped on that so he could hang out with the Saudis at his live golf tournament where he was being paid for, where they rented out his Doral golf course in Florida. Do you remember that? Oh, yeah, this was in the works, ladies and gentlemen, because this is what he really cared about. He wanted a better interior for Air Force One, so he'll just accept a $400 million luxury jet. This is ridiculous. And let's be honest about this. This is blatant, it is naked, and it is absolutely what we thought it would be, corruption. This is naked corruption at its finest. I know you don't want me to put the word naked and Donald Trump together in the same sentence. I apologize, but I had to there. This is naked corruption at its finest. So in this press conference today, they didn't just talk about this $400 million gift where the president was bought. But Donald Trump also went into a diatribe about Obamacare, calling it a failure again. Remember, he's been in 9 years, he's had the opportunity to come up with some sort of replacement plan. Listen to what Donald Trump said about Obamacare and the lies that he spewed about it.
Never had a president that had the courage to do this. And nobody knew the system like I do. I mean, I've gotten to know this system so well. And I don't think it's fair that it benefits Obamacare. Obamacare is a failure. It's not a good health care. It works. I made it work. I had an obligation to make it work. Or an obligation to let it die. I chose that we had to make it work. I had to make it as good as possible. And I had a choice. I could have let it fail or make it as good as possible. As good as possible means it was still not very good, but it survived.
What is he talking about? He made Obamacare better? First of all, let's be real on this. Donald Trump tried to kill Obamacare, and it was John McCain, yes, the hero, John McCain, who saved it. What is Donald Trump talking about? I saved Obamacare? You've been bitching about it for 9 years, and where's the replacement plan? Where it is? Where is it? Where did it go? Here he goes trying to come up with the explanation for a replacement plan for Obamacare. And listen to the end of this statement because it's so absurd. The Republicans, they need to come up with a replacement plan. They need to come up with it. Donald Trump was the guy for years that has been saying, we have a replacement plan. It's coming in 2 weeks. It's coming in a month. It's coming in 2 months. Last I checked, he was president for 4 years. Listen to this orange orangutan imbecile try to explain to the American people, oh, well, we're working on it. We got to get the Republicans to replace it.
So we're going to maybe come up with something. I think this gives the Republicans a chance to actually do a health care that's much better than Obamacare and for less money, which if you guys would work on that.
If you guys would work on that. Did he really just say that? You're the guy who said you had the replacement plan when you were president the first go around. Oh, we'll have it in 2 weeks. We'll have it in a month. If you guys will please work on that. What the F have you been doing for 9 years? You were already the president. Where was your replacement plan, you idiot? Oh, and don't even get me started with pharmaceutical prices. So Donald Trump is making the case that his new executive order is going to lower the price of prescription drugs, maybe even up to 90%, which is obviously idiotic. Let me give you guys a little bit of background on what Donald Trump is doing here, if you haven't already noticed with this executive order. It's not about making drug prices cheaper for the Americans. It's about making it more expensive in countries in Europe so his pharmaceutical friends could make larger profits. That's exactly what this executive order is all about. This isn't about America first. It's not about lowering the price of drugs at pharmaceuticals. That's exactly not what it is in America. This will raise the prices in Europe. In essence, the pharmaceutical companies will be making a larger profit and more money. It's not helping the American people. A perfect example is the executive order that he signed on day one, where under Joe Biden, insulin was capped at $35 for Plan B and Plan D for those on their plans, on their health care plans. But Donald Trump's initial plan on capping insulin left millions of Americans unable to do so. Joe Biden's plan, you could look this up if you don't believe me, under Plan B and Plan D, millions of more Americans had the opportunity to get insulin capped at $35. And then Donald Trump signs the executive order, which millions of Americans now are not getting their insulin capped. That's Donald Trump. He wants his pharmaceuticals friends to be making more money. That's exactly what this executive order is about today. It's about countries in Europe where pharmaceutical drugs will be more expensive, more profits for the pharmaceutical companies. No, prices are not going to be dropping in America. In fact, if you look right now, prices are higher because of this executive order. It is absurd. It is ridiculous. And listen to the bumbling and mumbling adjudicated rapist and 34-count felon, serial liar talk about it.
They'll have to do that. So for the first time in many years, we'll slash the cost of prescription drugs, and we will bring fairness to America. Drug prices will come down by much more, really, if you think 59. If you think of a drug that is sometimes 10 times more expensive, it's much more than the 59%. You know, it depends on the way you want to analyze it, but in one way you could analyze it that way. But between 59 and 80, and I guess even 90%. So when I worked so hard in the first term, and if I got prices down, I remember I was the only one to ever get prices down for a full year, but I'd get them down like 2%, and I thought it was like a big deal. Well, we're getting them down 60, 70, 80, 90%, but actually more than that if you think about it in the way mathematically.
In the way mathematically, yeah, 90%, right? Just like eggs are down 93%, right? They're 22 cents for a dozen of eggs. This guy is such a mumbling and bumbling idiot, and the fact that these people still support him makes them idiots as well. It's so stupid. It's so ridiculous. Then comes the topic of Stephen Miller, who wears the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7. And the bottom line here is it doesn't matter what you ask Stephen Miller or somebody in Donald Trump's administration, like, for example, Pam Bondi. You're the very, very, very best president we've ever had in the first 100 days, Mr. President. You're the best. You're Superman. So here's Stephen Miller's best example of performing fellatio on Donald Trump live on Fox News. Have a listen to this.
Great to see you. Something tells me you were not rattled on the negative, some of the negative coverage on 100 days.
Well, quite the opposite. The president's first 100 days were the most successful, impactful, extraordinary first 100 days that we've seen in modern presidential history.
So Stephen Miller, again, performing fellatio verbally on Donald Trump on Fox News. Best, most impactful. Well, he's right. It was very impactful in a negative way in the first 100 days. The economy has gone down the crapper. People have lost their 401ks. Stocks have plummeted. Inflation is not way down. Gas prices are not way down. People have lost the right to due process in this country. He's broken law multiple times. He's not giving people due process. He's broken our Constitution multiple times. Every person in the Constitution says has the right to due process. Doesn't say documented or undocumented immigrant. There is no rule of law. Very impactful when he decided to pardon a bunch of January 6th insurrectionists, and some of whom beat police officers. Well, I agree with Stephen Miller. That's very impactful. It makes this country more dangerous to live in. And you're sending a message, as long as you fight for me, and as long as you defend me by assaulting police officers, I got your back. Very impactful when he invites Enrique Tarrio for dinner. Very impactful when he caves on the tariffs with China. That's a whole nother story. See, that's what Donald Trump does. He comes up with a horrible idea, and then when it screws things up, in this case our economy, he caves, and then he sees it as some sort of victory, or he says it's a victory, so his cult followers believe it. Hence China. He, tariffs them 140%, then he caves, claims that he's been talking to President Xi when President Xi wants nothing to do with him. They tariff us back, and then Trump is the one that caves first and lowers the tariffs, and then China lowers the tariffs, and then Donald Trump claims that it's some sort of victory when it's not. We suffer for it, China suffers for it, and Donald Trump claims that he won some sort of medal. He should get the Nobel Peace Prize. It's ridiculous, and it's disgusting. So let's review, if I may, and we'll take some phone calls here at 702-221-7283. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you do want to be a part of the show. And I want to get your thoughts on this. I want to get your thoughts on this $400 million jumbo jet that Donald Trump just received as a gift, which puts our national security at risk. At least that's my opinion. You don't think that they expect something in return? Give me a frickin' break. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's review real quickly before we get to the calls. So last week, Trump announced that he's building a $5.5 billion golf resort in Qatar. He also met with the Saudis at the Live Golf event that was at his golf course, which his company was getting paid for. And then Qatar announces it's just handing over a $400 million private jet. So it appears as though the American presidency is for sale to the highest bidder. They claim, at least Donald Trump claims, and the White House claims, that this was a very public and transparent transaction. But we learned is that confidential sources told ABC about it first before the White House even spoke about it publicly. This is an example, as I said earlier, of bribery, and maybe the worst in modern-day presidential history. And please, somebody, MAGA, explain to me how Bob Menendez can get 11 years in prison for accepting some gold bars from Egypt, which, by the way, I don't condone and I don't feel sorry for him. Why doesn't Trump deserve 11 years for accepting a Boeing jumbo jet from Qatar? I ask you those questions right now, and we'll take some phone calls here this segment. Again, that number is 702-221-7283. All right. Who do we have first up here? Let's go to Johnny. Johnny is first up calling into PTL. Hi, Johnny. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Vegas. What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's up, Johnny? What's on your mind today?
I'm just curious because I hear so much about tariffs and what Democrats want and not. I hear a lot of flip-flopping. So as far as I know, Democrats historically wanted tariffs. Now they don't.
No, that's
Trump wants them.
That's not the.
And now
Johnny,
when Trump's letting up on tariffs,
Johnny,
you're complaining.
Johnny.
Now I just don't know what you actually want.
Okay.
What do Democrats want?
Okay, so first of all, I don't speak for Democrats because I'm not a Democrat, so I have to correct you there, Johnny.
Well, you agree with everything Democrats do.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay,
hold on. Let me educate you. What's my take on capital punishment?
I don't know, but what's your take on
So you don't know. So hold on, Johnny. One at a time.
What's your take on
Johnny?
Men and
I'll answer your question. Johnny. But Johnny.
Okay, what's your take
Johnny,
on men and
you need to
sports?
stop talking and let me answer to have a conversation with me. Can you do that?
Okay, go.
Well, that's very nice of you, Johnny. Thank you. One at a time. You just said you don't know what my opinions are on capital punishment, which means you don't know what my opinions
are.
are.
We aren't even talking about
Johnny,
capital punishment.
you called me a Democrat. You just asked me, where do you disagree? Johnny,
you're getting so off base on the topic.
Johnny, I need you to stop talking and I need you to listen for a moment, and then I will answer your question about transgenders if you would shut the hell up. The reason why I brought up capital punishment
I was talking about tariffs.
Are you going to be quiet? Shut up and let me finish. I want to keep you on the line and I want to have a civil conversation with you. Stop interrupting me. Be quiet. You asked me, and you asked me a question. You said, where do I disagree with Democrats on? I brought up capital punishment because I agree with capital punishment. That's why I brought it up. I know that might be really hard for you to understand. Now, I know transgenders are very important to you, so I'll answer your stupid question. And I actually was asked that on the Piers Morgan show. I don't agree that women, transgender men, should be competing with women. I am for capital punishment. I have no problem with capitalism, and I don't want to tell people what they pay their employees. So now that we've established that you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, and those are multiple multiple very important issues where I disagree with Democrats on, and you're wrong. Now I can answer your question about tariffs. Would you like to move on now?
Okay.
Admit that you're wrong?
Yeah, go.
Would you
with
like to
tariffs.
admit that you were wrong characterizing me as a Democrat? Or do you...
Okay.
Okay.
I was wrong saying
Thank
that you
you.
believed every single thing
Got you.
Democrats
Okay,
believe.
let me educate you again because you're still not at the point where you need to admit you're wrong about everything. I didn't vote
What?
for...
You're not going to talk about
excuse me.
tariffs
I
now?
will.
You're just gonna go
I will
back.
if you will. I will if you will shut up. I'm keeping you on the line. Shut up. I didn't vote for Barack Obama. I did not vote for Hillary Clinton. I voted for 8 Republicans in the midterms. Does that sound like somebody who's a Democrat or a liberal as we bring you back up?
Talking about still.
Answer the question, and then we'll move on. Does that sound like a liberal?
You're talking about tariffs. Now
answer?
You're talking about some
We are
Obama
no,
shit.
no. First of all, you're not going to swear on this show, dumbass. Okay, Mr. Dumbass. You just claimed that I'm a Democrat. I just told you I'm a registered independent that did not vote for Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. Are you going to admit you're wrong, and then we can start talking about tariffs? Does that sound okay with you, buddy?
When are we going to talk about tariffs?
When
Which
you
was my
admit that
initial
you're wrong.
question.
When you admit that you were wrong.
I already did.
Okay, thank you for admitting you're an idiot. Now we'll move on to tariffs. I know you got that Tucker Carlson laugh, buddy. Okay, now that you've admitted you're wrong and I proved you wrong and I destroyed
Tariffs,
you.
bro.
Now let's talk.
Tariffs.
Okay,
Get
bro, shut up, bro. And now I'm going to answer your question about tariffs.
How many words you have to say to get to tariffs?
Okay, I'm going to talk about tariffs right now, but you keep interrupting me with your stupid MAGA brain. Okay, you're frustrating my producer and you're frustrating me. Shut up and let me respond. So, in the history of this country, Brandon, have we ever had these kinds of tariffs before? Ever?
Difference.
I just asked you a question. I'm asking for a direct
Does that
answer.
make any difference?
Okay, because the reason why I'm asking you this question, Brandon, is because it's something called unprecedented. There's a reason why we've never had a president that has implemented these kinds of tariffs before. Do you know why, Brandon? Do you have, or whatever your name is, Brandon or Johnny?
Probably because the national debt.
Probably because of the national debt. Donald Trump got us $8.2 trillion in debt, nowhere near what the debt that Joe Biden put us in. Are you aware of that?
Trump made a lot of money on the debt. He's not allowed to fix it.
Because I believe Donald Trump made a lot of money on the debt, I don't believe he can fix it. I don't know what you're talking about.
But you're bitching about whether he does no matter what.
First of all, I'm not bitching. I'm giving you facts of how this has hurt the economy, 401ks, the stock market, and American consumers having to pay for it.
So do you want tariffs?
Johnny, or whatever your name is, most Democrats agree that sometimes tariffs can work. Not the way that Donald
Trump.
So now why are not the way? Will you let me finish my sentence so you can get the MAGA wax out of your ears and listen? You didn't let me finish my sentence. Shut up again and let me finish. I'll start over.
You could just talk rather than talk about.
Pot him down. Or I could just pod you down or hang up on you, dumbass. Okay, let me finish my sentence. Most Democrats agree that there are times in our country where tariffs can work. Not the way that Donald Trump is implementing the tariffs, 140% tariffs on China. The American consumer is suffering and struggling for it because of these extreme tariffs. And by the way, Donald Trump is the guy that caved on the tariffs. Look at the GDP growth, by the way. Do you have any idea what the growth was and what it is now from day one since Donald Trump took office? Do you understand where the GDP? Do you understand where the growth is? We're talking about the economy. Answer my question. Okay, I'm asking you a question about GDP growth. Do you understand the growth of the economy since day one, since Donald Trump took office? How has that worked out? Do you have any of the statistics?
Are you saying he's capitulating when he's
I'm asking you a question. Answer my question.
Are you claiming he's capitulating?
If you're not going to answer my question,
or not?
I just answered that.
Do you want the tariffs or not?
Down again. If you're not going to answer my question, I am going to hang up on you, you MAGA buffoon. You're obviously not very intelligent. You had to admit that you were wrong on your first point, and then your second point, you go to the extremes. Do Democrats don't want tariffs? I tried to explain to you there's a reason why this is unprecedented and never been happened, because they are extreme and they are going to destroy the economy. And you see, you don't sound like much of an economist, sir, but you see, most economists around the world, especially in this country that do this sort of thing for a living, all agree that we are headed towards a recession. Does that not mean anything to you, you MAGA buffoon? Does that not mean anything to you?
What do you want?
I'll tell you what I want. I want people like you to be deported out of the country. I want you. I pray to Jesus Christ that idiots like you who still support Donald Trump, that think these tariffs are good, I want you deported to Gaza. I want you deported to Russia, and I never want you invited back. What do you think about that, Johnny? That's what I want. That's what I want. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. I hope somebody puts you on a plane with no due process and puts you in an El Salvador prison and you could never see your family again. You MAGA dummy. Have a nice day. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Kowalski. Kowalski is next up on PTL. What's up, Kowalski?
Hoorah, Brian. Hoorah. Send it. Oh, that guy was fun. That guy was fun.
That was a good time.
All right, so Air Force One, you want to talk about that, right, buddy?
Yes.
All right, so I have major issues with it beyond the quote-unquote $400 million price tag, and accepting it from a foreign government. Air Force One is super special. It's very much a one-of-a-kind plane. It has like a mobile command center where everything is encrypted in multiple levels with different countries individually, so you can instantly call another leader of a country from anywhere in the world. It has an incredible range. It has way bigger normal fuel capacity and different turbines. It flies higher than commercial jets, so it can avoid nuclear fucking blast. Or sorry for
watch your language.
right?
Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry, my bad. That's abnormal of me.
That's okay.
And then the other thing is it's also armored. It has air-to-air and ground-to-air missiles and protections, jammers, defense systems. So now you're going to take this big armored plane that's super important to protect POTUS, and you're gonna accept some luxury airliner and think it's gonna be better.
So Kowalski,
this is insanity.
So Kowalski, it is insanity, and I agree with you. But let's remember how this took place to begin with. First of all, I do find it very interesting that you'll hear MAGA Republicans complain about Hunter Biden and Burisma and selling artwork, but notice how they didn't have.
This is beyond.
No, I know that. I know that. Hear me out on this. But you'll never hear them complain about the $2.1 billion that Jared Kushner got from the Saudis. And here's what makes this story even more despicable.
Can I say one thing about
Yeah. Hang on. Yep. Hang on. But Trump just announced a $5.5 billion golf resort being built in Qatar last week. Donald Trump was the guy at the Live Golf tournament where they came to pay money to play on his golf course, and he skipped out on honoring 4 fallen soldiers whose bodies were sent home. That's when this was all taking place, because he cared so much about the interior of Air Force One and being upgraded, and that was more important to him than honoring some foreign soldiers. So all these people out there that say Donald Trump, respects and supports our military, they can go F themselves.
And then as for the tariffs, for your last caller, I'll give them a history lesson just real fast. Okay, Democrats have rarely ever instituted tariffs ever in history. You can look it up yourself. It's very easy. Just type into Google, when have Democrats, when in power, asserted tariffs, and then look at how the tariffs are. They're very small normally and extremely aimed. The only other time in history that we have had any larger tariffs instituted, it's always been under Republican control.
Yeah.
Why there, Johnny? Why? Have you ever heard of Smoot-Hawley? It was one of the dumbest moves in American history, besides the one we just saw in the last 100
Kowalski,
days.
you're right. You're right. I agree with you.
And both these gentlemen, Hawley and Smoot, Republicans. They are freaking Republicans.
Well, what a shocker on that one. What a shocker on that, Kowalski, right? No, listen, great call. I agree with everything you said. These are strange times that we're living in. But hey, I'm sure they just decided to give us a $400 million gift to Donald Trump, and they don't expect anything in return. Is there anybody that's that stupid? I guess there is. I guess our caller, Johnny, is probably one of them. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Tim. Tim is next up on PTL. Hey, Tim, what's going on?
Not much doing all right.
What's going on, Tim? What's on your mind?
Are you going to talk about the egg prices ever again?
I'm sorry, repeat. The what process?
The price of eggs.
Oh, the price of eggs. What about it? Yeah, what about it?
About how they came down, and you went on for 2 or 3 months about how it's the most awful, horrible thing ever.
Okay, so first of all, I never said it was the most awful, horrible thing ever, so I don't know why you would say that, because I never said that on the air. Okay, hold on. I never said it was the most horrible, awful thing ever, so that's wrong. That's number one. Number two, are they down since day one, since he took office?
Yes.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
They are.
No, they're not. 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 You're wrong. Now, they are down. They are down in the last month. How about inflation? How's inflation doing, and the price of gas? How's that doing?
Gas is as cheap as it's been since March of 2021.
Oh, what's the average price of gas right now?
Here it's $2.
No. Didn't ask you what it is there. That's irrelevant. I'm talking about.
No.
Pot him down. Sir, the price of gas in your city was not the question. I asked you what the average price of gas is in the country. Do you know what the average price of gas was in the country? Because I talked about it last week, the latest numbers. No. You see, sir, just because gas prices are down, and I know this might be hard for you to understand, but that's okay. I'll explain it to you, okay? Just because gas prices are down in your city doesn't mean gas prices are down in the entire country. Sir, do you understand the concept of that, or do I need to explain that to you again, right? Do you get that? Okay. No. Yeah. I just want to make sure you understand the premise, and then we can. I understand. Okay. So what's the average price of gas in the country?
Gas prices are down 9.8% from April 2024.
No. I didn't ask you April. I said since day one, since Donald Trump took office, sir.
Ooh.
Okay, so so I will assume that you don't know the answer to that question. So you call into this show talking about the price of gas in your city, saying that gas prices have dropped under Donald Trump. And then when I ask you what were the prices on day one compared to now, you don't know the answer. Sir, that makes you sound like an idiot. Do you understand why I get frustrated with people like you? Give me the numbers of what gas prices. See, I know what the numbers are, but give me the number from day one to now. And when you can't give me that number, then how can you form an educated opinion? Do you understand? I'm trying to be very nice to you, sir. Do you understand that?
When Donald Trump took over January 20th, 2025, gas prices were $3.09 a gallon.
What's the average price of gas now?
It is $3.
No, you're wrong, sir. Gas prices are not down 9 cents. You're wrong. In fact, they're actually up 3 cents. Now, even if gas prices were down 9 cents, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. You can laugh because you're an idiot, but you're wrong. You see, sir, I talk about things on this show. I'm not perfect, but I'm fairly educated, and gas prices are up 4 cents since Donald Trump took office on day one. Now, Donald Trump is the guy that said he would lower the price of gas. Donald Trump is the guy who said he would lower the price of eggs and inflation, okay? So let's talk about that, sir, because you sound like you're a Donald Trump supporter. Don't get me wrong. You sound like a very educated guy. Gas prices are down. And then you have to Google what gas prices are because you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. But that's okay. I'll still have you on. No problem, sir. Sir, who was the person that said the war in Ukraine would be over in 24 hours? Since we've talked about gas and eggs, who's the person who said that I will end the war in 24 hours? Can you tell me who said that?
Trump. So you're
okay,
doing whataboutism.
So no. We've talked about gas prices. This isn't whataboutism. I'm not going to do 20 minutes on gas prices and eggs. We've done 5 to 10 minutes on gas prices and eggs. So now we're moving on to another topic. That's not whataboutism. We've discussed it. We proved that you're a complete imbecile. So since Donald Trump said the war would be over in 24 hours, I'm just asking, sir, is the war still going on? Help me understand, because I don't know. I don't follow the news. Is the war in Ukraine still going on, sir?
Yeah, when are you going to pay your...
Wait, sir. I know you want to try ad hominem attacks, and you want to try to make some weird insults to me, but let's see if you're capable of having an intelligent conversation. I don't think you are, sir, and I probably will regret it, but I'm asking you a question. You admitted that Donald Trump said the war would be over in 24 hours. You also just showed that you don't even know what the price of gas prices were on day one to now because you're an imbecile. So, sir, is the war in Ukraine still going on? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's still going on.
Okay, so did he lie about that? Is that a good or bad policymaker? That's all I'm asking you. It's a very fair question.
He lied.
Okay.
Name me a president.
Okay, so name me a president who hadn't lied. Okay, well, Donald Trump did 2 things in 2016, or campaigned on 2 things. Help me understand this, sir. Did he build a wall and did Mexico pay for it? Yes or no?
Name me a president.
No. I'm asking you a question. You don't answer a question with a question. I'm asking you respectfully, sir. Did Donald Trump build a wall and did Mexico pay for it? Yes or no? Just answer the question.
See,
answer the question.
This
is why you can't have a conversation. Right. You try to ad hominem attack me and you're saying I can't. You won't answer a question and you're saying I don't know how to have a conversation. I do 45-minute interviews with people, sir, people that are far more respected than you. So I'll ask you again. This is now a 3rd time. Did Donald Trump build a wall and did Mexico pay for it? Yes or no? Please answer the question.
No, I've answered every
question. Thank you very much for answering that question. Now I'm going to ask you another question, okay? And by the way, you couldn't even answer the gas price question because you didn't know what you were talking about and you had to Google it on your Obama phone. Donald Trump said that I'm going to speak your language, sir. Donald Trump said that he was going to hire a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton and put her in jail. Sir, did Donald Trump do that? Can you please answer that? Did he hire a special prosecutor?
I don't care.
You don't know? Oh, so you can't answer my questions now. Okay, well, I'll answer it for you, sir. Whatever happened, I answer all your questions. Now, all of a sudden, you don't. So you don't care if Donald Trump makes promises and he doesn't fulfill them. Well, I'll help you out, MAGA crap for brains. I'll help you out, okay? No, he didn't. He campaigned on two things in 2016. He campaigned on, we're going to build a wall, Mexico's going to pay for it, which I'm surprised you admitted he didn't do. And yes, he didn't hire a special prosecutor after Hillary Clinton. In almost every rally, he said he would end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. Now, I know you probably don't care about that either, when a lot of innocent women and children are losing their lives on a daily basis. And when Donald Trump says that Putin wants peace, within 24 hours, there's another airstrike where innocent women and children die. So we're no closer to ending the war in Ukraine. The Israel-Palestinian conflict certainly is abysmal right now. But, you know, you don't care, right, sir? You don't care. Well, guess what, sir? I'm going to end the conversation by saying I don't care about you, and you're another caller that I wish would be deported to Gaza. What do you think about that? Have a nice day, idiot. On to the next one. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Patrick. Patrick is next on PTL. Hello, Patrick.
Brian, man, sorry I haven't been able to call in, dude. I've been licking my wounds, man. I lost my 401k, but luckily enough, I just found it.
Well, Patrick, the good news, Patrick, is that the show is doing wonderful without you. I don't need you to call into the show. Hold on. Just passed 100,000 subscribers. Just did the Pierce Morgan show earlier today. But boy, thank God you called in, Patrick, because, you know, a guy with like 12 followers on social media, gosh, I really need Patrick's opinion on anything. Let me tell you something, Patrick. Your opinions mean about as much to me as the last crap I took. That's what I think about you, and that's what I think about your opinions. You're an uneducated, middle-aged white doofus, and I don't need you to call into the show because I think you're an absolute ass. What do you think about that? What do you think about that, Patrick? That's what I think about you. I don't care about your opinions, and I don't care what you have to say, and you don't have to call into the show. So if you're going to call into the show and you're going to start to be sarcastic to me, or you're going to start a conversation like that, then don't call in ever again and go jump off a cliff for all I care. Patrick, that's what I think about you. What do you think about that? You're the one who takes your little orange fingers to call into this show, and it's probably the highlight of your day to try to insult me on my show when you become a YouTube star on my show alone because everybody knows how stupid you are. How does that make you feel, Patrick? You still support Donald Trump?
That's the goal. That's the goal of my life.
Okay, good. I'm glad that's the goal of your life. So, Patrick, let's try to have a conversation here. I know you're not really capable, but let's try. What do you think about Donald Trump receiving let me ask you another question. Let me phrase it a different way so maybe you can understand. If Joe Biden received a $400 million gift from Qatar, from the Saudis, who, by the way, help promote the Hamas and help Hamas and are a terrorist organization. If Joe Biden accepted a $400 million jet from Qatar, how would you feel about that, Patrick? Answer that question for me if you can. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to another call.
Are you not happy I found my 401k?
Okay, I'm going to give you one more chance because you're wasting my time. But I'm going to give you one more chance to answer. I don't care about your 401k, and I don't care about you. And I don't care about what you claim you have in your 401k because you're probably somebody who is unemployed, uneducated, and unwilling and unable to work. But I'll try one more time with you, MAGA Patrick, okay? I'll try one more time with you. It's okay. So, Patrick, let's see if you can answer this. And don't deflect or the conversation is over. I'll ask again. What would you say if Joe Biden built a golf course in Qatar, met with the Saudis instead of honoring fallen heroes, which Donald Trump did, and then a week later, he accepts a $400 million gift from the Saudi government? Would you have been okay if Joe Biden did that, Patrick? That is my question, and I'm giving you one more chance to answer it.
Joe Biden has not built anything in his whole life.
Didn't ask you what Joe Biden built. I'm asking you a very specific question, and that requires a very specific answer. But since you're incapable and unwilling to answer a Joe Biden question, because I know what the answer would be, we'll go to Donald Trump. Are you okay with Donald Trump, MAGA Patrick, accepting a $400 million gift from the Saudi government, a government that is known to harbor and support terrorists like Hamas? Are you okay with Donald Trump accepting a $400 million gift? Are you okay with that?
It's not from Saudi Arabia. It's from Qatar, buddy.
Okay.
Get the facts straight.
Answer the question. You know what I'm asking you. Answer the question. Whether it's Qatar or the Saudi government, are you okay with them accepting a $400 million gift? Yes or no?
You do recognize Qatar is not Saudi Arabia, right?
Are you going to answer my question, or are you going to dodge it? I'm going to give you one more chance. Are you okay with this? I'm asking you a question. Why won't you answer it? I've asked you 5 or 6 times. Are you okay with this $400 million gift? Yes or no? Answer the question.
From who? It's not from Saudi Arabia, is it?
Okay, Patrick. Let's just say I'm wrong about where it came from, and it's Qatar.
Yes, you are wrong.
Okay.
You are wrong.
Okay, so let's see if you're capable of answering it, Patrick. We'll give you one more chance. Are you okay with Donald Trump receiving a $400 million gift from Qatar?
Why would you not accept a $400 million plane from a nation?
Because it puts our
government of the
okay.
United
So the
States?
answer is no. You're totally fine with it, and you don't think it jeopardizes. So let me ask you another question, MAGA moron,
Okay,
Patrick.
yeah.
Let me ask you another one. Okay. So when somebody gives Donald Trump a $400 million gift, do you not think they want something in return? The silence.
Possibly so.
Okay, possibly. No, not possibly so. Okay, but let's even go by possibly, by your standards. So you're saying a foreign entity and a group of people that have harbored terrorists, you're admitting that Trump receiving a $400 million gift, they probably want something in return. Patrick, most people would call that putting our national security at risk. So when a foreign entity who supports terrorists, by the way, expects to get something in return, some people would call that bribery. Patrick, do you not understand that concept of you get something and you give something in return? You don't have a problem with that?
So who gave it to us?
Okay, have a nice day, Patrick. You're not worth 2 more seconds of my time. You're a complete imbecile, and I hope you get deported to Gaza as well. That's 3 people now that I hope and pray to Jesus Christ get deported to Gaza and never come back. 702-221-7283. Let's go to the MAGA destroyer, Darlene. Darlene, what's going on?
Oh, my God, Brian. Listen, these 3 callers, they're nothing but a bunch of blow-up dolls, like I said before on the women, but I'm going to say it on the men now. You guys are a bunch of blow-up dolls that don't know your ass from your head. You're stupid, you're ignorant, and I mean, it's scary to have stupid people that much out there.
It is. It is.
MAGA people are stupid, Brian.
Listen to that for a second. You had this imbecile who just openly admitted that, yeah, Qatar, they're probably going to want something in return. And that's called bribery. You give something and you expect something in return, but he has no problem with that. So in Patrick's land of low IQ idiot, or whatever else you'd like to call it, it's okay for foreign entities to give us large gifts, and it's okay for them to expect something in return. That's Patrick's America. He's so stupid, he doesn't even understand what bribery is.
They're stupid. They really are. I don't even know what to say anymore, that they're so stupid.
Yeah,
you guys are stupid.
They're extremely ignorant, Darlene, and it's always good to hear from you. But, you know, I give them the opportunity to show how stupid they are on this show, and I certainly enjoy that. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. Hey, Mark, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. It's not hard to make these MAGA idiots look foolish, but all they can do is see. Their main goal is that it's all about racism. That's what it is. Now, let's go to the Republican presidents, all right? Ronald Reagan, who so many people loved, right? Involved in the Iran-Contra scandal, who also gave military arms and weapons to Osama bin Laden. You know who Osama bin Laden was, right, people?
Of course.
George W. Bush threw us into a war for no reason because he claimed Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. And name the only president in modern-day history who left the United States with a no deficit and a budget surplus. Bill Clinton. Mm-hmm. And they screamed at Obama because he wore a tan suit.
Yep.
Now, one more thing, Brian. The thing that with this Qatar and the plane, it's disgusting, it's horrible, and these Democrats, they need to speak up more about this nonsense. But what's really destroying this country is if Trump and his regime, his fascist regime, gets away with the elimination of habeas corpus. That means that any American, for any reason, can be arrested without even being able to have their say in court.
Yeah.
That is what will destroy this country.
You're right, my friend. I appreciate the call, Mark, and I'm with you 150%. Trump is literally destroying the country on a daily basis. Let's see here. Let's go to Jack. Jack is next up on PTL. Hey, Jack, what's going on?
Yo, Brian, what's going on, man?
What's up?
Hey, listen, I just wanted to talk about the chilling effect that I'm feeling, man. Like, if Trump would have done any of these things that are just unconstitutional as far as, subverting the due process and then going against the emoluments clause, in his first term, they would have been impeaching him already. I just think they're so shook from them impeaching him and then the senators not going through with what they should have done, take an honest vote and get the guy out of there. I just feel like no one's doing anything.
I hear what you're saying, but I just think there's only so much that the Democrats could do right now. And we're going to be stuck with this guy for the next 3.5 years, whether there's 10 impeachments. You know what I mean? I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But there's only so much that they can do right now. But, what I want to hear from Democrats is calling out this stuff more. Some are, but not all. I mean, this $400 million gift is absolutely despicable.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's exactly against the emoluments clause. You cannot take a gift from whoever. Like, you're just not allowed to do that. And I mean, Jamie Raskin gives a perfect example of. I think one of our presidents. I think it was either Roosevelt or Lincoln accepted a horn, like an animal horn, and wanted to keep it. And it went through Congress, and Congress said, no, it doesn't look good, taking a gift from another, and he gave it back. I mean, it's ridiculous. And now it's up to like a $400 million jet, and no one's batting an eye.
It is.
And
can you imagine?
I hear you. I don't think
this is the same.
I don't think the impeachment.
Listen, Jack, this is the same thing that reminds me of when Jared Kushner received a $2.1 billion check from the Saudis. Do you remember that Republicans, were able to put a blind eye towards that, and yet they want to talk about Hunter Biden selling artwork in Burisma. This is the exact same thing, only even a larger scale than that, in my opinion. Thank you for the call, Jack. Let's go to Dimitri. Dimitri's next up on PT. Dimitris, I'm sorry. Dimitris. Hey, what's going on, Dimitris?
Hey, what's going on there, Brian? I just want to call in to say I recently subscribed to your channel last week, and I've been going through your videos. Keep up the good work. This is what's needed. When they go low, you go low right with them, and keep putting your foot on your neck. That's all I got to say.
Well, thank you, Dimitris. That means a lot. Thank you for finding the show, and it is interesting. I seem to get a lot of people calling in like you every day, and I'm very honored by that, and I really do appreciate that. We are going to get to the YouTube Super Chat here in just a little bit. We also have a guest that's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. She's great. Julie Roginski is awesome. She's going to be joining us here in a few minutes as well. I think we'll get to the YouTube Super Chat in hour number 2. We won't do it right now. We'll try to get to a few more calls, and then we'll have to take a quick break. Let's go to Pete. Pete is next up on PTL. Hey, Pete, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, man. I love you, man. You're the best.
Thank you.
I want to say really quickly that how much I can't stand what's happening right now. How sick I am of these people. If you ask any MAGA right now, name one Trump policy, they can't name anything. They can't name anything. There's nothing. There's no health care. There's no child care. There's no infrastructure. There's nothing. All right? Now, let me beat on Biden a little bit, because what the hell was the problem with him preventing, before he left office, what's happening now?
Yeah.
I mean, he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, why did he put forth some policy that would prevent what's happening now, when everyone knew it was going to happen, except for the morons, of course?
Well, I think there's a lot of gullible people out there. I think that's a nice way of putting it. A lot of ill-informed people out there, and they believe every word that Donald Trump says. And we see this from Donald Trump. It's a roundabout circle, right? He'll come up with a horrible idea, and then when he realizes it's not working out, he'll try to blame others, like Joe Biden. And then when that doesn't work, he'll retract it and he'll claim victory. Donald Trump does this all the time. Horrible ideas, blame other people, retract and claim victory. He's done this with China when it comes to the tariffs. He caved on China. He will continue to cave because of his ideas make no sense.
And also on top of that, look, people have to be honest with themselves and say, how is this affecting me personally? I could easily point out a couple of things that are affecting me personally. Number one on top is healthcare.
Sure.
But I just don't get it, man. And I don't want to be one of these callers that just, whatever. I just love your show, man. Dude,
Well, thank
you're
you.
the best.
That means a lot. I appreciate you, my friend. That means a lot. Thank you so much for the call. Let's go to Pepper. Pepper's next up on PTL. Hello, Pepper.
Hi, darling. How are you
Hey,
doing?
doing good.
I just love your show.
Thank you.
I've been listening off and on. I stay mainly on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook because I've got a blog that I let everybody know on the candidates, the Democratic candidates that are running in this country. I'm a little tired and peeved of hearing people say, what are the Democrats doing? They're not doing enough. Believe me when I tell you, I just left Representative Ted Lieu and Representative Susie Lee. These people are out here trying to keep that money rolling for them to stay in office because the Republicans have all this dark money floating around from all these billionaires. And it seems like our side, we have a problem with getting them funded so that they can hit the media.
Yeah.
It's difficult, darling.
It is very difficult. And, every day that goes by, and thank you, by the way, for the call, my dear. I have to take a quick break. But I agree with you 150%. And the problem I have with the media in general is that I think, sadly, it's all about ratings and it's all about numbers. And sadly, there are just too many people out there that believe the Jesse Waters. There are too many people out there that believe a Sean Hannity, and it really is harming the country. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. For those of you that are on hold, please sit tight, but we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Julie Roginski. She is a former Fox News and CNBC contributor and also the author of Salty Politics newsletter on Substack and the co-founder of Lift Our Voices, Us. So Julie is going to be joining us next. She's also a great contributor on CNN. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this, and we'll also get to the YouTube chat when we come back. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Kelp's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Kelp's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercials, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
organized crime and law enforcement, we put in the work to get to the bottom of some of history's most intriguing tales, exploring the age-old dichotomy of the good guys versus the bad guys. Located in the heart of downtown Las Vegas, the Mob Museum is an immersive experience, exploring the ongoing power struggles between organized crime and law enforcement from the mob's origination to today. Located at 300 Stewart and 4th Street, themobmuseum.org. Let's have a sit down.
All right, welcome back to Pushing the Limits on a Monday. As I mentioned, I did the Pierce Morgan show earlier today. Got into it with Jack Posobiec and Brandon Tatum. So I guess they're airing that tomorrow. So that'll be a fun watch for sure. You know, I have a lot of great people on this show, whether they be CNN contributors. John Fogelsang is going to be coming on the show tomorrow. John Lemon does my show all the time. I've met a lot of great people in the industry. And the lovely lady we have on the show right now, I've been watching her on television. Her commentary is fantastic. She's a former Fox News and CNBC contributor, and boy, I love it when she goes after Scott Jennings and they go at it. I think she just I'm also the author of Salty Politics newsletter on Substack. Julie Roginski joining us right now on the show. Julie, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Thanks so much for having me. I'm great.
Good to see you. Boy, there's a lot to talk about in a short period of time. What is your first take on this $400 million jet from Qatar that Donald Trump is accepting as a gift? What do you make of this story?
I mean, are we even pretending it's anything other than graft? I mean, look, Qatar is the 55th largest economy in the world. We're number one. Why are we taking gifts from Qatar for an American iconic presidential plane? I mean, this is something that Boeing has always made, an American company. This is not how you bring business back to America. It's not making America great again. But more importantly than that, look, Qatar is not particularly, this is not Great Britain or Canada or people who used to be our friends. This is a country that still harbors Hamas terrorists, including one that is wanted by the Justice Department here. Apparently, the president's not trading away extradition for him to the United States, despite the fact there was a warrant out for his arrest that was issued last year by the Justice Department. They've been harboring Hamas for years and years and years. They are sometimes with the Houthis, sometimes not with the Houthis. These are not our friends. This is a transactional relationship. The United States gets nothing out of it. Donald Trump does. He gets to fly around in a really fancy $400 billion plane for the rest of his life. But the rest of us get nothing other than God knows what he sold out to Qatar in order to get this little bauble for himself.
And Julie, I agree with you. I wanted to ask you about that because just last week he announced he's building a $5.5 billion golf course in Qatar. And if you recall, when 4 American soldiers lost their lives, he decided not to honor them when their bodies came back, and he was hanging out with live people. And, that's run, as you know, by the Saudis.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, this has been in the works probably for a while. And then they say, oh, we've been open and honest about this whole thing. No, they haven't, because last I checked, it was a confidential source that told ABC about it. So they were forced to admit it.
Well, they have been open and honest about the fact that they're just here for the graft. I mean, they just are. And if you want to blame somebody for it, blame John Roberts, because he has said, along with 6 of the 3 of them were Trump appointees, but 6 total of the very conservative right-wing justices on the Supreme Court said that anything Donald Trump does in his capacity as president, and that is very broadly defined, is legal. So Donald Trump can very much out in the open say, you know what? I'm getting a $1 billion complex in Doha, or wherever they're building this newest Trump tower / resort. I'm getting a $400 billion plane. I'm getting whatever money that Qatar or anybody else is sending through his crypto company. I'm getting all of that for free. And by the way, Steve Witkoff, the guy who apparently negotiated a lot of these deals, Qatar bailed his company out. Now, one of his sons runs World Business Financial, which is the company that Donald Trump runs most of his crypto stuff through, and 80% of which is owned by the Trump family. Mm-hmm. So, he could say all of that and it would be fine because there's nothing anybody can do about it. Apparently, the emoluments clause doesn't matter. The Constitution very clearly says that he cannot take 1 penny in foreign gifts without approval of Congress. Congress will probably give it to him if he asks for it because they're totally acquiescent. He hasn't bothered. But if he did, I'm sure he'd get it. And so, if you're Donald Trump, why would you hide this? I mean, he's there for the grift and the president is allowed to do it because the Supreme Court said there's no problem with him doing it.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Julie, because you do a lot of these panels and you're on with some people like a Scott Jennings, and that's why I have no hair. I pulled it out of my head listening to him, and I love it when you go out with him. And I'm wondering, you see these MAGA Republicans like a Scott Jennings, because he's turned into a MAGA Republican now, and maybe not, but maybe he kisses the ring because he wants something. I think he wants to be in office, but that's another story. But when you see these MAGA Republicans curl themselves into a pretzel, like the way Scott Jennings does when it comes to this story, how do you even respond to them? I mean, it's like that, that's what he's going to be doing on CNN this week.
I mean, of course he is. But look, the reality is Scott Jennings, whatever he wants to do with his life it's up to him. I guess he wants to be Mitch McConnell and when he grows up, and he probably will become the next senator from Kentucky, because the more you kiss Trump, suck up to Trump, the more he's going to let you do what you want. And I'm sure he wants somebody like that in the Senate to continue voting to give him all sorts of emoluments that otherwise he should not be getting. But look, I know my history, and I think the one thing I know about history, whether it's Soviet history or German history or the history of the Confederacy or any of these horrible regimes that the world has lived through, at the end, it doesn't end well for the people who espouse it and for the people who support it. It just does not end well. Either,
so true.
And even if they themselves, it works out for them, history will not look kindly on them. Their children and their grandchildren will not look kindly on them. I cannot imagine. This is not at all about Scott Jennings. I don't mean this is not at all what I'm suggesting he is. But look at the segregationists from the Jim Crow days. Their children and grandchildren, I'm sure, are embarrassed to be related to them. And ultimately, anybody who endorses this kind of behavior, knowing full well, and they do, I mean, 99% of the ones in Washington and on TV know this is all nonsense. Yeah. They do. Their history's not going to look kindly on them. So,
Yeah, I agree. Julie, on Fox News, you were one of the most sane people they've ever had there, as far as I'm concerned. I'm wondering, and I'm not asking you to dish out any trash on a former employer, but at the same token, after 5 p.m., I can't watch Fox News anymore, Julie. I just can't do it. The Sean Hannitys, the Jesse Waters. I think Tarlov is fantastic, by the way, and there are some talented people there. Okay. But I mean, did you know Pete Hegseth? I mean, you had to.
I did. I knew Pete Hegseth well. So I have to be very careful. I actually was one of the women who sued Fox News and Roger Ailes for sexual harassment, which is why I left. So I have an NDA, and I can't say much, but I can say this: I did know Pete Hegseth. I did know Jeanine Pirro, not just professionally but socially, both of them. I knew Donald Trump. I knew the Trump sons, the older Trump sons. I mean, all of them came through Fox. I knew Marco Rubio. I mean, I was Jesse Tarlov before Jesse Tarlov was Jesse Tarlov on the 5. So I remember when Marco Rubio announced his presidential race on the 5. I was sitting right next to him when he did that, and he certainly was preaching a very different story about Donald Trump back then. And privately, a lot of these people back then, I haven't spoken to most of them since the first Trump administration, but they know what he's about, but they also understand that they probably wouldn't survive in any other media organization, and that sweet Fox money pays the mortgage. And so, they've got to say what they've got to say. They've got to do what they've got to do. Everybody's got to hustle, right? So
I will not be asking you if Roger Ailes asked you to twirl. That wasn't on my
even if he did, I could not tell you.
Right. I understand that. And again, getting off of the Fox News, but I'll just say this. It just seems like it's a prerequisite that in general, I'll speak in general here, that if you are an alleged woman abuser or just an awful human being, that Donald Trump will want you to work in his administration. And I'm not even saying Fox News. We know that Judge Jeanine just got a gig, but it just seems to me there are so many people in Donald Trump's administration, so many, not all, but a lot of people that have alleged, abusing women, and just horrible things that they've done in their life. And what does that say about where we're at as a country?
I mean, I think more generally, not just about women, but about civil rights generally, about women, about people of color. The pendulum has swung so far out of whack right now, where we're throwing everybody out of the country except for one group that we're allowing in as refugees with open arms. Refugees, and we're not allowing Syrian refugees in. We're not allowing refugees from South America who literally are raped and murdered in gang violence. We're allowing Afrikaner farmers who feel like the fact that they have to share their land with Black people, which they've never had to do until apartheid collapsed, is suddenly such a chore is such a horrible thing for them that they're now refugees and basically on a pathway to getting citizenship in the United States thanks to Donald Trump. I mean, it is so surreal that this is where we are. You know, as I sit here, I'm in Midtown New York right now, and I'm in somebody's hotel room because I'm about to go to the Webbies. So I has to borrow their computer while they're getting ready. And I'm looking out, and you could see the Statue of Liberty in the harbor because I'm on a very high floor. And just not to get all sappy, but I mean, literally, what's written on the Statue of Liberty about giving us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, you know, the wretched refuse of your teeming shores. I mean, we might as well just chisel that off the Statue of Liberty. Because what we're doing now is we are creating an administration that is banning books written by Maya Angelou. I know by the Cage Bird Sings. I mean, one of the great books of the 20th century by a tremendously talented African-American poet. But we're allowing Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler to stay in military libraries. I mean, what does that tell you about where we are? I don't care if you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. I don't care who you vote for. But my God, I mean, this is surreal. This is not how normal people think. And the fact that this is how the highest people at our highest levels of government think is just frightening and should be depressing and despondent for all of us.
Julie, you're so right. And you mentioned the Statue of Liberty, and that was kind of my next question to you, where human beings are not able to get due process apparently in this country now, and they could just be sent to an El Salvador high maximum security prison with absolutely no due process at all. So I asked the MAGA Republicans, if you believe this guy Garcia is a gang member, then why wouldn't you allow him in a court of law and let that be proven by prosecution? They don't want to hear it. You know, and I've always said this, and I don't know if you agree or not, but I think Make America Great Again to me always sounded like Make America White Again. That's the way I feel.
Well, look, it's an avatar for everybody, right? Everybody's got their own idea of what American greatness is. And for too many people who support Donald Trump, it is the 1950s when women knew their place and African Americans knew their place and immigrants knew their place, and dad went to work and came home and mom was all dressed up and serving him dinner, you know, like June Cleaver, and the kids were scrubbed and silent until they were spoken to. I mean, this is a world that just doesn't exist anymore, and definitely for good reason. I mean, it worked out really well for some people, but it really did not work out well for most people. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to recreate now, whether it's this whole trad wife movement, whether it's the fact that he is ripping people off the streets who look like they may be here illegally, even though they're not, and you know, sorting it out later. I mean, we're deporting American-born children who are American citizens with their moms and letting that all get sorted out later. We're in the process of deporting Asian immigrants. Had a judge not stepped in, and I'm not even sure if that worked. But this week, or last week, I should say, they were about to deport people from Laos and Vietnam to Libya, a failed state, where Doctors Without Borders will not go into their prison system because it is so dangerous, where if you are even lucky enough to survive, you will definitely be raped and beaten and abused. I mean, this is what the United States is doing. We're sending them to some foreign gulag. And it's just, you know, I was born in the former Soviet Union. I had family that went to the real gulag in the Soviet Union. Right. There's a reason why my family fled here. And just to think that this is what this country's become is just terrifying for those of us who know what it's like on the other side and what could be happening soon.
I never thought we would be in the situation we're in, certainly not in our lifetime. I guess you're going to be asked. Days. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, right? I have to pinch myself and say, is this really reality? Do we really have a man that's accepting a $400 million gift from Qatar? Right. We have a man that's a 34 count felon. You could walk into a fast food restaurant and they would ask you if you're a felon, and they wouldn't hire somebody like Donald Trump. It's just crazy times we're living in. I would imagine, Julie, you're going to be asked this question a lot over the next several years. I know 2028 is a long time away. We got to get through the next 3.5 years in the midterms. I get all that. But with that being said, rising stars in the Democrat Party. I've said to myself, Josh Shapiro, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, you know, to name a few. I don't know about, you know, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. I'm kind of up and down with him. But if the elections were tomorrow, and they're not, a lot can change. But who would be your front runner, and who do you think should be thinking about running for president in 2028?
That's a good question. I think J.B. Pritzker should take a serious look at it. He's been great. Look, I just want a fighter. And what I'm so frustrated about, and I bet you are too, and I bet you your listeners are too, is how little fight our current leaders have. As I sit here in New York, Chuck Schumer is my senator. Hakeem Jeffries is not my congressman, but he's a congressman from New York, where I live. And where are they? I mean, they're kind of operating under this old Robert's Rules of Order that doesn't exist. Josh Shapiro, great guy. I want to see him take the fight on a little bit more. I'm really tired of hearing from defenders of people like Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom that what do you expect? They have to work with the president because they need money for their states and there's no other way to get it.
Yeah.
Bullshit. I mean, they can get it by standing up for him because the military base that she's going to get in Michigan from Trump by being nice to him is going to mean nothing when she enables and whitewashes by standing next to Donald Trump everything that we just talked about for the last 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear that anymore. It's now the time to stand up. It's now the time to speak out. It's not a time to tell him to shove it. And if he has to penalize your state for it, then you go and you make that point to your constituents that you are getting screwed because of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Not because of anything I'm doing, but because of Donald Trump. So, Gavin Newsom, who I think had a lot of promise, but you want to hang out with the likes of Steve Bannon, you want to hang out with the likes of Charlie Kirk, that's great. Go work at Fox News where your ex-wife did, and I'm sure you could spend all your time talking to people like that. But the reality is that's not what anybody needs to give more amplification to. I don't think Democrats need to understand and learn from people like Steve Bannon. I think we get it. I think we understand it. And I think we need to fight against it, not learn from it.
Agree, Julie. And my biggest criticism was not him interviewing them. It was coddling them and not pushing back on them. And by the way, I forgot about Kimberly Guilfoyle. The best is yet to come. I actually forgot about her. And I think Don Jr. did too, but maybe that's not a bad thing. But anyway, Julie, before I let you go, you're so good at what you do. Can you please talk a little bit about your Substack? It's awesome, Salty Politics, and how people can sign up. Sure.
It's great. Thank you so much for asking. I launched it a little less than a year ago, and it's just grown exponentially, and I'm so grateful. It's called Salty Politics. You're right, every day, literally. It has become a second full-time job. You can find it on Substack at Salty Politics. I do a show every Wednesday with Tara Setmayer, Michelle Kinney, and JoJo from Jers, who are also people you might know.
JoJo's a friend of mine. Yeah, she's great.
Well, there you go. She and I do a show every Wednesday at noon Eastern called Over It, which you can find on YouTube. We also do something called Coffee and Conversation Saturday mornings at 10 a.m., which is pretty loose, and people just hop on and we have a conversation. Also at 10 a.m. Eastern, as I said, on Saturdays. And so it's just a great community. So if you're not on Substack, get on over to Substack, or just catch us on YouTube at 12 Eastern on Wednesdays and at 10 Eastern on Saturdays.
Yeah, Tara's done this show before, and JoJo does this show all the time.
I'm sitting in Tara's room right now. She was nice enough to let me use her hotel room. We're going to
that's cool.
We're going to the Webbies together tonight, and so
that should be
fun. Tara, I got the show to do before we go to the Webbies, so she said I'm using her computer to do
tell her I said thank you, and JoJo's the best. Keep up the great work, and keep getting Scott Jennings. You make him look like the fool, the clown he is sometimes, but I'll leave it at that. Anyway, Julie, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you. Have fun tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's Julie Roginski, everybody. She is fantastic. I really enjoy her work, and I've been watching it for a very long time. She does a great job on these CNN panels. And she used to be the Tarloff of Fox News. And I didn't really want to get into this with her too much, but she is part of the lawsuit against Roger Ailes, and she had signed an NDA, so she's not allowed to talk about it. But yeah, I can say this. I believe she was one of the women that was clearly treated horribly and probably sexualized by a Roger Ailes and others. And I understand she's part of that NDA. She's not allowed to talk about it, but that's why she's not there anymore. And it's unfortunate. Jessica Tarloff's fantastic, but shows Julie, and she should be there as well. But she does a great job on these CNN panels and these other panels, and she's great. So we really do appreciate her jumping on and being a part of the show. I do want to go to the YouTube Super Chat quickly, if I may. We'll go to the YouTube Super Chat first, and then we'll take some more phone calls at 702-221-7283. The Weirdo says it's like Cheeto Jesus switched from 3 a.m. tweets to random 9 a.m. pressers that are just him rambling. Well, you're right about that, the Weirdo. He certainly rambles a lot. Reaver says, Trump, we need tariffs, stop importing foreign goods. Also, Trump, I'm importing my own private jet because the American company is taking too long. Very good point there, Reaver. I wonder how much a tariff would be on this jet. Darcy Merritt, who was the winner of the fan do a segment with me monthly segment we do if you make a donation of $25 or more. Darcy's so sweet, and she did such a great job. She's going to be back on again. She says, thanks to you, Brian and PTL, for all the chat support on Friday when I joined. Heartwarming. I could have talked for longer. Join the contest, folks. It's fun. Well, Darcy, we'll definitely have you on again to give you a little bit more time, and I really do appreciate wonderful people like you that are out there that are loyal listeners of this show. Antonio says, gas prices in Vegas are up a whole $1 already since Inauguration Day, but MAGA, I guess. Yeah, how about the fool who called in who said gas prices are down in my city, so I guess that must mean they're down throughout the country. Absolute idiocy. Chris says, I wonder how much money the Qatari government had to put into Trump's meme coin scam for that 747. That is a very good question, Chris, and I didn't think about that, but that's just another Ponzi scheme. Kathy, thank you for your support for Patrick's Brian Shapiro blow-up doll fund. That's funny, Kathy. That's hilarious. He probably has or already has one in his bedroom along next to his Donald Trump blow-up doll. Tina B says, I think this luxury plane gift is going to cause tremendous harm and somehow blow up in Trump's face in time. I would say probably so, Tina. Everything else seems to blow up in his face, so I certainly agree with you on that one. I said what I said. 4 more to go. Yes, that's true. I said what I said. Thank you for your support as well. All right. Those are the YouTube Super Chats thus far. We'll continue to read more of them, but I did promise you we would be getting back to the phone calls, which are full right now. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Ben. Ben, what's going on, man?
Good. Not much. Thank you for letting me listen to the interview. It was interesting.
Well, thank you, Ben. You're calling from Canada?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, I love my Canadian callers, my friend. What's on your mind today?
Oh, I was just wondering why nobody has touched on the subject, really, of Trump's real agenda. Do you remember when he first came into office, he said he was going to have external revenue service collect all tariffs?
That is true. He did say that. Yes, I remember.
And all monies collected by the government usually is handled by Internal Revenue Service, which is controlled by the Congress. Trump is going to come out and say, I created this new thing called the External Revenue Service, so therefore the executive office will control all revenues.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, my friend, is where he's at.
How many people have they fired, by the way, from the IRS is kind of ridiculous. And,
Well,
yeah, it's insane. It's insanity.
Not only the IRS, any department that can investigate or bring out into the light what he's doing.
You're right.
He's cut.
You're right, and he's pissed off a lot of Canadians, and I love you guys out there, and I've never heard any of you boo the Star-Spangled Banner until recently at some hockey games, and I'm sorry for what he's done to you guys, and obviously very sorry for what he's doing to America, but you guys out there in Canada are wonderful people, and all I can do is apologize for the orange orangutan that is our president. Thank you for the call, my friend. I really do appreciate you. Who are we going to next? Let's go to Terry. Terry's next on PTL. What's up, Terry?
Hey, good afternoon, Brian.
Hi.
I just wanted to address 2 of your earlier callers. Let's start with Johnny Tariffs. That's what I'm going to call him, Johnny Tariffs.
Okay.
Let me think. I'm thinking that actually he doesn't know what he's talking about in terms of the tariffs. First of all, I was in my local Walmart today, and there was a shelf there that was devoid of everything, everything. So I went over to one of the women that was working, and I said, "Are you guys sold out of this stuff? What's going on?" She goes, "No, the stuff is not coming in. We can't stock the shelf." So I took a picture of that shelf completely devoid, and I bet if I showed that to Johnny Tariffs, he probably wouldn't believe it. He'd probably say it was AI or something like that. And then let's talk about how that's causing terrible economic instability. It's just unbelievable, and it's starting to show right now. And then there's Mr. Tim, who thought he would give you a takedown. I was at the grocery store because Monday's the day I shop. Eggs were $5.75 a dozen, and gas was $3.10.
Yeah,
so again, I'm pretty sure, Brian, if I gave him the receipt and showed it to him, he would say it was fake.
They're not very intelligent people. They are the types of people that say, well, eggs in my supermarket were blah, 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 and gas in my city was blah, 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 blah. So that must mean all over the country gas prices are low and inflation is dropping drastically. And it's just not true. These are not very intelligent people. They don't know how to put 2 and 2 together. But, you know, I try to educate them on the show, but it doesn't always work that way, my dear. And I really do appreciate you. And thank you for setting the record straight on that. I really appreciate it. All right, let's go to Julie. Julie's next up on PTL. Hi, Julie.
As soon as I heard about the plane, Brian,
Yeah.
The first thing I thought of is that they could have put wiretaps. They could have put something to where they could figure out more of our security measures. Like they could be listening while on that plane. That's the first thing I thought of, because this is not just.
So that's possible. That is possible, and I'm not saying you're wrong on that. But here's what I will say for sure: Donald Trump is building a $5.5 billion golf course in Qatar. He announced that last week. We know that this is giving something to get something. It puts our national security at risk. It is a bribe so that Donald Trump might be a little bit more comfortable in a jet and likes the interior a little bit more. And he's putting all of us at risk because of it. And the White House is saying, nope, there's nothing to see here. It was just a gift. I mean, it's unbelievable how these Republicans put themselves into their MAGA pretzels and try to defend this.
And then he wants to say that he's making Obamacare better or making Med lower.
Yeah.
But I remember back in his last administration, I was paying so much out of pocket for my medical bills, my medications, everything. And apparently everybody wants to forget about that.
Let me tell you something. I'm glad you brought that up, my dear, and I do appreciate your call. It's good to hear from you. The reason why he signed this executive order is so he could make pharmaceutical drugs more expensive in Europe so that the pharmaceutical countries will make more money. This is not about lowering the prices in America. That is BS, and that's a lie. You know what? Let's go to Erlin. Erlin is next up on PTL. Hi, Erlin. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hi. I just wanted to kind of appreciate you. I really appreciated I'm on the show with you, Chris. My opinions about the current administration, since the last time I called was maybe about 2 or 3 months ago. Now present day, I don't really see any improvement at any time, especially when Donald Trump said that he was going to make 200 negotiations about the tariffs. And how many days has it been now with nothing at all?
I think it's worse. I think it's worse than not making improvements. I actually think it's a lot worse than that. I think he's destroying the country, and he's making it a lot harder on the American people. I think it's much worse than even the way you described it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and then the fact that I'm supposed to work for a summer job this summer for June and July.
Yep.
Because I work for the school district, like I said, the last time I called. Basically, I got word saying that there's no funding to pay, and there's no funding to do any activities with kids who attend summer school.
Right.
And there's no funding for the kids' food. And we all know that's going to happen around the country. And it's just really ridiculous the way how this whole thing is.
It is beyond ridiculous. I think we have a bad phone line there. It is beyond ridiculous. And I'm with you 100%. We just got to keep the fight going. Thank you, Sir Seuss, for your donation on the YouTube Super Chat. Praising Dr. Darcy Merritt as being a hero. I would concur with that, and I agree with you on that, Sir Seuss. Thank you for your support. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Charles. Charles is next up on PTL. What's going on, Charles?
Oh, Brian, there's so much low-hanging fruit today. Thanks for having me on.
You got it.
Let's start with the airplane thing. Can you imagine if the Clintons would have been offered a plane by a foreign entity?
They would have still been talking about it today. Yeah, I agree with you.
Can you imagine if Barack was offered an airplane by a foreign entity?
Oh, my God. Let's just, how about Joe Biden? You know, that they're angry that Hunter Biden is selling artwork. Can you imagine if Joe Biden built a golf course in Qatar for $5.5 billion, a $5.5 billion deal, and then a week later they give him a $400 million plane? MAGA Republicans would lose it.
But the double standard in the media is just obscene.
It is.
And I know you got a lot of guests. Let's see. Number 2, the fake negotiations with China. He's been lying about it for 6 weeks.
Yep. Yes.
He said he had a deal. He said he was talking. His people said they have not spoken.
Right. He said, didn't he say, we've spoken many of times, and then the Chinese government says, no, not at all. We haven't spoken to them at all. And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump changes his tune. He says, well, we've spoken, but I don't really want to get into that. And then he caves on these tariffs, and then he's making it like it's some sort of victory when he's the one who caved on it.
And listen, let's talk about educational background. President Xi has a chemical engineering degree and a law degree.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump cheated his way through the Wharton Business College because he was in the Lucky Sperm Club. So
you're right
it's
about
not
that.
really a fair negotiation, but it's just comical what's going on. Hey, I'm going to bow out and let you grab another
right, my
couple. I
man.
love your show, bro.
All
Call
right.
in all the time. Thanks so much
Thanks,
for
my
having me.
man. Love you too. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Keith is next. Let's go to Keith. Hey, Keith, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. I'll make it quick. I typed in Google. I typed the cheapest gas in America. It came back Mississippi through 10 a gallon. But about the plane,
yeah.
I believe Jamie Raskin more than I believe anybody else because he's a constitutional scholar.
Right.
And he said it's a clear violation of the emoluments clause.
Yep. It is. You're not allowed to accept any bribe.
I would tend to believe him over anybody.
I agree with you, by the way. Jamie Raskin is a good man. I agree with you. You're not allowed to accept any bribe. It could be, explain this to me, Keith, okay? Or is that your name, Keith? I'm sorry. Explain this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Explain this to me. How is it that Bob Menendez gets 11 years in prison for accepting gold bars from Egypt, but Donald Trump can accept a $400 million plane and it's all just fine? Can somebody please explain that to me?
Well, it seems like apparently what he's trying to do is, because what he was saying this morning in his crazy ass press conference was that it's a gift to the Department of Defense.
Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see about that.
So that's what he's kind of trying to shield himself.
You know what
with.
that's like saying? That's like saying Pete Hegseth is a gift to our defense. I mean, it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, do you really? Does anybody really think he's going to give that up and give it up in like 2028? Does there anybody that thinks he's going to do that? Just like he didn't want to leave the White House, he's not going to want to leave that plane. So I don't believe it for 1 second. I don't believe anything he says.
Me neither. Me neither.
Yeah, we're on the
Great
same
show,
page.
Brian.
Thanks,
Thank you.
dude. Thanks, dude. I appreciate the call. Thank you. 702-221-7283. Noreen is next up on PTL. Hey, Noreen, what's going on?
Hi, Brian. I'm happy
Noreen,
to finally got through.
Oh, sorry, Noreen. Go right ahead. We got you. Go ahead.
I'm happy to get through. I just got a quick question. How do you think about the refugees just landed from South Africa? What do you think about that?
Well, if any refugees are landing in the United States of America, I'm all for it. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't deserve to be vetted.
Right.
We need to make sure that these are people that are legitimate and they don't have a criminal record. I'm all for it 150%. Let me tell you something. This country was founded on immigrants, okay? Let's be very clear on this.
Because I'm an immigrant myself.
Yes. Yes, amen to that. Black people and immigrants made this country what it is today. And unfortunately, most people who are MAGA Republicans do not want people like you here. Now, they will lie and they will say, we have no problem with you coming into this country. We just want to do it the right way. Then why is it that it takes 10 to 15 years? Listen, all they would need to do is get together with the Democrats, sit at a table. We know the Democrats would be on board. Make it an easier pathway to citizenship for people. It takes 10 to 15 years. Why is it you think that MAGA Republicans want to make it so hard for people like you to come to this country legally?
Because they really don't want us here.
Exactly.
They want easy labor.
Exactly. That's my point. And again, Make America Great Again is Make America White Again. They're not giving people due process. Notice how they're not sending white people to an El Salvador prison. I wonder why that is. Why is it that people that are overstaying their visas here that might be from Sweden or Switzerland, why are they not being sent to an El Salvador prison? You might say, well, Brian, because those people were in gangs. No. Garcia.
No, they don't look like me.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't look like me.
There you go. There you go. Again, Donald Trump wants more orange orangutans in this country, and he wants less people like you. That's exactly the way these people think. It's the MAGA Republican Party. Oh, yeah, one other quick fact. African Americans are, last I checked, I could be wrong on this, but I'm around 12 or 13% of where we are in America, right? Why is it that the Republican Party is only represented by less than 1%? I wonder why that is. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe they don't want to ever want us to break through, like how the white folks break through and they own this, own that, got millions of dollars. They don't want us to see us on the top of the ladder. They don't want that. They don't want that from us.
I think you're onto something. And I agree with you, my dear. And I'm glad you're here in this country. We want more people like you here, and I really do appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next on PTL. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Brian. I'm confused. So maybe you can help me out here. My understanding is that Trump claims when the day goes well on the markets and everything, it's something he did.
Right.
And when it goes bad, it's something Biden did.
Right.
Now, hold on here a minute, but I believe that there was some announcement about tariffs being reduced in China this morning, and the markets go crazy, right? Mm-hmm. This shows that adding tariffs had to be the reason why the economy crashed earlier. And a 90-day pause is just a pause. So all these people are going to call in and crow about, now it's Trump's great economy. Well, hey, all you have to do is wait a month or two, and the idiot in the White House will make some other decision to cause the markets to crash again.
Mark,
and
he literally said, as you know, in an interview last week, things go good, it's the Trump economy. Things go bad, it's Joe Biden's fault. He literally said that word for word.
The problem in a way isn't Trump. Trump is an idiot, and he's a narcissist and a rapist and all those things that they want to deny. The problem is the people who are denying that and still support him.
Yeah, no, you're
They're
right.
the problem.
Mark, Mark, I'm at that point now. There were times where I said, listen, if you voted for Donald Trump a third time or whatever, you're wrong, and I'm frustrated with you. But at this point now, I am saying, if you voted for Donald Trump in November, and we're sitting in the middle of May right now, and you think he's doing a great job, I don't want you in my life. I don't want you to be in my life in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be friends with you. I certainly don't want to know you. I'm done with you. Because chances are right now, if you like what's going on in this country when it comes to just immigration as a whole and people not getting due process, then you're a bad person. I don't want to be associated with somebody like you. I just don't. Now, there are people privately to me that I know voted for Donald Trump in private. They'll admit to me they made a mistake and they don't like what he's doing. Okay. You're not willing to talk about it publicly, is what it is, but at least privately, I know where you stand. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Paul. Paul is next up on PTL. What's going on, Paul?
What's going on, man? What gets me on this immigration thing, this has nothing to do with the rule of law. Brian, the reality is these people voted for a white man that's a rapist, a convicted felon, who didn't rent to black people, who cheats on his wives, who had dinner with Nick Fuentes, who caused an insurrection.
True.
Somehow he gets to be president, and he gets to pardon 1,500 other U.S. citizens that are white people, and they're heroes and patriots. But if you're a brown person and you've been here for 30 years, never committed a crime, pay your taxes, but your documentation's not right, you get drug out of a school and a church and put in shackles to be made a mockery of on national TV. This is about racism, Brian. That's just what it is.
I completely agree with you, and I can't wait until Pierce Morgan's show airs tomorrow. It's going to air tomorrow. I recorded it today, but a lot of what we talked about was about race, and Jack Posobiec, to not be surprised, who's a MAGA moron, defended Kanye West and Spotify taking his stuff down. And he tried to compare the racist white bigot woman mother who called a 5-year-old child the N-word, and he tried to do whataboutism with me, and then he started to go into the Carmelo Anthony case. It just whataboutism from these fools, but I am glad on national television I was able to say somebody has Trump fellatio syndrome, because they said I had Trump TDS, and then I said they had Trump. I said they had Trump fellatio syndrome, and I said take your Donald Trump knee pads off. So I'm just glad I was able to say that on the Pierce Morgan show today. That's all. They didn't like it, but I said it.
Well, who cares if they like it?
Yeah.
One more point I was going to make about that one of these other MAGA callers. He's like, well, how did it affect you? How did it affect you? And that's what these people don't understand. Women's rights didn't affect me.
Right.
Immigration didn't affect me. Brian Sitnick didn't affect me. January 6th didn't affect me.
Right.
They only care about themselves. And that's the root of a lot of this, is they don't give a crap unless they lose their job or burn their hand on a little jar like little children, like Patrick.
You are 100% correct, Paul. Before I let you go, I did mention this already, but Paul's going to be filling in for me the second week in June. Paul, you have some very special guests already that are going to be coming on the show. Why don't you tell us?
Well, the one so far is Eric Swalwell.
That's awesome.
I had a meeting with him on Thursday, and I'm working on the other two.
That's great. Well, Paul, we're looking forward to it, man. We're looking forward to you filling in for me. I know PTL Nation, they love your calls, and look forward to you coming in and filling in, my friend. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. See you later.
Thanks,
Bye.
Paul. 702-221-7283. How about that? My fill-in host already has Eric Swalwell lined up as a guest. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's go to Amy. Amy's next up on PTL. What's up, Amy?
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, good.
So Congressman McCall was on Face the Nation on Sunday. I saw a clip of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I called his office, which I call congressmen and senators all the time, all over the country. And I told him a quick story of how Abraham Lincoln was gifted a tusk. And he did the right thing, and he went in front of Congress and asked if he could keep it. And they said no. Congress said no. So he didn't. So his office said to me, well, that's concerning, when I asked him about the plane. And I said, no, it's not concerning. I said, no, it's unconstitutional and it's un-American. And they said, well, you're not a constituent. And they hung up on me.
Why am I? It's so despicable. It's so despicable, but why am I not surprised? Well, my dear, I'm sorry you had to go through that. But I'm glad you at least were able to share it here, the incompetence and the fools. At the same time,
I call all the time.
Keep doing it.
All the time.
Keep doing it.
Yep.
Keep doing it.
Yep.
Don't stop doing it. Obviously, you're starting to get to them. Keep doing it, and who knows, maybe something will come out of it. But let me know your progress, okay?
Thank you. I will. I have a mouth. So
All right.
Thanks
Good.
a lot.
Good.
Take care.
Thank you, my dear. You take care as well. Let's go to Carolyn. Carolyn is next up on PTL. Hi, Carolyn.
Hello.
Hi, Carolyn. What's on your mind today?
Really, I just called in. I was on YouTube, and this is the first time me literally listening to Pushing the Limits live, and I really love what you're doing, and I want to encourage you to keep it up.
Thank you.
Because the thing we fail to realize in America, what's going on, and we were all immigrants at one time, and these are human beings. It's not about a color. These are humans. So to seek so low as to treat these people, and you agree with it. So I'm just talking to the people who voted for this man, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, he showed he was a felon. He was, out of 12 people of our peers, took him to court for the rape, took him to court for the fraud. When you got a person, they took him to court, obviously he went to court for what he did. They had proof on it. And when the 12 people on the jury chose, these were people just like us, said he was what he was. To think, what really gets me is to think about people who voted for him. What does that tell you about those people? They said almost half of America voted for him. So what does that make me think?
Well, here's the way I agree with you. Here's the way I'd break it down, right? And I talk about this all the time. 93% of black women who are the most educated in society did not vote for Donald Trump. 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump. 80% of black men did not vote for Donald Trump. I don't understand the 20%. I don't understand the 7% of black women. But rightfully so, the overwhelming majority of African Americans did not and will not support Donald Trump. There's a reason why the overwhelming majority of minorities do not support the Republican Party. They also don't represent this country. As I said before, 13% of this country is black, yet less than 1% represent the Republican Party. There's a reason for that as well. At this point, if you still support Donald Trump, and you like what he's doing, and you like the fact that brown people in this country are not getting due process, and you like the fact that he's going after people that disagree with him, and you like the tariffs, and you like the fact that he's accepting a $400 million gift from Qatar, if you like all these things, then there's something wrong with you.
It's something, truly. That was the key. That was my key. I said you have to look within yourself. Truly ask yourself these questions. If you are a person in America, or even around the world, just like he did with the Pope. Look at the old Pope Francis. Look at the Leo, the new Pope. The point being is, just like that Pope said and Francis said, we are humans. It's not even about where these people come from. They're obviously running to the America for a reason. And it's not just to come over here and steal and what he said, we're criminals. That's a lie.
But that's what Fox News perpetuates.
Fox News is all lie.
Anybody
who watches them, all they do is
excuse me, if you watch Fox News, you'll notice they show a lot of black people committing crimes, and they'll make it seem like the only people that are robbing old ladies are black people.
Because they're racist.
Well, that's
They're
what they do. That's what they do. They, you know, and they'll call someone who beats a cop on January 6th a hostage or a patriot. Now, listen, anybody who commits a crime and you know, sucker punches somebody.
Of course, you want them to go to jail.
Of course.
Well, they say if you do the crime, you do the time.
Of course, but if you look at all the people who Donald Trump has pardoned, particularly on January 6th, they're all white people. They're all white fringe people. They're all white people that come from far right backgrounds, that are uneducated people, and they're just stupid. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. My dear, I'm so glad that you found this show, and please call back again. You sound like a lovely lady, and you're welcome to call back anytime. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. All right, let's see. Who are we going to do next here? Let's go to Kim. Who are we going to do next? Pat. Pat is next up on PTL. Hi, Pat. What's going on?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Pat. What's on your mind today?
Pat from Maryland. I think we better make Mondays Maggot Mondays.
Maybe so.
Let's get all the maggots on Monday so we can have a nice week.
Let's do it.
Brian, I am sick of these people. I am sick of them.
As am I.
I am sick of them. And this plane, oh my God, I can't believe these people are supporting him. I cannot believe. This is ridiculous.
I hear you. It's getting to the point now where it's almost like it's so serious, but it's almost like we have to laugh at it. I mean, what's next? He's taking a $400 million gift from Qatar. They help terrorists. They help fund Hamas, and he's accepting I mean, it's just it's sick. It's really sick.
I hate to say this, and I usually don't wish nothing bad on people, but that plane, they let him have that plane, and I hope they have every, they get it where they can get all his information and all his information and set him up.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I just think I hear what you're saying, but I think this is just so bad for the country, and it might benefit. It might benefit somebody. It might benefit somebody like Trump, and he'll be more comfortable in his plane. But in the reality of the situation is, it's just so bad for the country.
It's opening the door. It's opening the door for them to come in here and attack us.
Absolutely, absolutely, it is. I agree with you, my dear. And it's only going to get worse. What gift will he accept next? Will he accept gifts from Vladimir Putin? What's next? 702-221-7283. Jeff is next. Hello, Jeff.
Hi, how you doing, Brian?
Hey, Jeff. What's going on?
Big fan of your show.
Thank you. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, I don't know how people could vote for this man. This man is a con man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a criminal. I just don't understand it.
The only answer I can give you, Jeff, because I've asked myself that same question a lot. There's a lot of stupid people in this country. There's a lot of bigoted people in this country. There's a lot of selfish people in this country. And there's a lot of people that just don't care about middle-class America or those that are struggling. At this point, that's what I would say to all of them. Uninformed, uneducated, biased, racist, bigots, extremely wealthy, selfish people. That's really the best way I can answer that. In my opinion.
Yes, I agree with you 100% on that.
Where do you live, Jeff?
I agree with you 100%.
Where are you from?
I live in close to Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Atlantic City, New Jersey. I used to go there from time to time. So what's the feeling in New Jersey? I mean, I know you had Chris Christie out there. And what's the feeling in New Jersey about Donald Trump?
A lot of people voted for him. I don't understand why. What he did to this city, like I said, he screwed over the workers, that built the casinos. He didn't pay them.
Taj Mahal filed for bankruptcy. Yeah, you're right. The Taj Mahal filed for bankruptcy. Yeah. I know he's got the Trump Marina out there. But, yeah, you're absolutely right, my friend. Well, hang in there, man. We're going to get through this together on PTL Nation. I appreciate your call. We're going to get through this together somehow, some way. Let's go to Maria. Maria is next on PTL. Hi, Maria.
Hi, Brian. I really enjoy you very, very much. I think you are a great guy, and you are really, really have give a lot of a little hope the way that you take over the whole situation. But I think that he really has become a dictator because I'm an American citizen, natural citizen. My husband is a U.S. citizen, and my children are all the things. I left Spain because I grew up with a dictator. And this started feeling like a dictator, bro.
Yeah.
This started feeling, I'm so worried. But the one thing that I am very, very concerned, and maybe you can keep, because I don't see anybody talking about, is that they are going to find a way with Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
And the 26, let me finish, is going to find a way how to steal the election again. You know, like I believe that they messed it up with in Philadelphia. I really believe that these people are going to do something very, very, very bad.
My dear, where are you from? Where are you from?
Spain, original Spain.
What would you say to any Spaniards living in this country right now that still support Donald Trump?
Well, so far, the ones I know, they don't.
Yeah.
And especially my age, because I'm 73 years old.
Oh, God bless you.
But but I'm very concerned because I love this country.
Yeah.
I left Spain for that reason, because I didn't want my children to be with a dictator.
Well, my dear, let me tell you this. America was built on people like you. I love America because of people like you. And we used to live in a country, I guess we don't anymore, where we would welcome people that look like you, that sound like you. I certainly still feel that way. MAGA Republicans do not. And the proof is in the pudding. If you're saying, oh, Brian, that's not true. We just want people to come in this country legally. Really? Then why are you not giving these people due process? Why is he only going after brown people? Just a question I want to ask here. Thank you for the call, my dear. I really appreciate you. Let's go to Aaron. Aaron is next on PTL. What's up, Aaron?
Hi, Brian. Hey, I used to listen to your show every day, but I have a schedule change, so I'm catching up on the back episodes.
That's
right
not a
now,
legitimate.
and
That's not a legitimate excuse. No, I'm just kidding, Aaron. Go ahead. I'm just kidding.
I just got to the episode where Donald Trump told Vladimir Putin to stop, and I had this thought that I hope with every fiber of my being that for even just a split second when he posted that he felt the same amount of urgency and terror as the women that he raped felt in that moment.
Yeah, that's
just for even a second.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that you bring up there. I want to repeat this once again to anybody who supports Donald Trump, just to remind them he's a liable sexual abuser. Besides being a 34-count felon, 25 women have come forward that have accused him of rape or sexual assault, including his ex-wife in court documents in a deposition. And these people call themselves nuclear family people. They call themselves Christians. They're fake people. That's what they are. They're fake. Telling a woman what to do with her body, like I would ever do that. It's so fake. These people, these fake Christians, these fake evangelicals, and they lie. They lie. That's what they do. That's what they do.
Could I say one other thing
Sure.
before I go, Brian?
Sure.
I just wanted to thank you for hosting this show and giving people like me that don't have a platform and wouldn't otherwise have a voice a place to express our opinions and our concerns, and for genuinely listening to us. I cannot thank you enough for that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but you will always have a platform on this show as long as you guys continue to support what I do, and you guys are, and continue to be a fan and spread the word, and you will always have a platform on this show, and I appreciate you, and you're always welcome to call back. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you. All right, quickly here, we got to go to Linda. Linda's next. What's up, Linda?
Oh, I'm mad at my country. I come from Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm mad at the world, right? Why is every country allowing him to come over, right? If you're a rapist in this country, you can't go to any other country. If you're a rapist in the States, you can't travel anywhere else. I mean, Canada would say, no, we don't want you to come over.
He is a 34-count felon.
What is wrong?
He is a 34-count felon. You're right about that. And even though that has nothing to do with the sexual abuse, because he was found liable, I do agree with you. Do I think he's a rapist? Yes, of course I do. But he's a 34-count felon convicted in a court of law. And I agree with you. But he is above the law. The Supreme Court has already ruled that he has immunity. Donald Trump is
But
above
it's
the law.
not above the law in our country, though. That's what I don't understand. If every country out there, other than America, was to stop him and say no.
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed in any other country because of what you have done.
Listen,
right?
I
But
agree.
like everybody is bowing down to him, and
I
it
agree. Not
makes
everybody.
me sick.
Not everybody, but certainly it seems like almost every Republican out there, and it makes me sick as well. We're going to have to get through this together. Not just the PTL Nation, the whole country. We're all going to have to get through this. It's a mess. Every day it's something new with this man. But I will continue to call it out and speak truth to power every day. Watch the Pierce Morgan show tomorrow. Of course, I want you to watch my show tomorrow too. But Pierce Morgan show, we'll be airing the tape. I was on with Brandon Tatum, who's the male version of Candace Owens, and Jack Posobiec, who is a right-wing knee pad-wearing idiot. It did get pretty fiery and pretty interesting there towards the end of the show. And we'll be playing bits and pieces of it too, but that's going to air tomorrow, so I don't have it to play for you yet. I love this guy. By the way, thanks to Julie Roginski for joining us. How great is she? She's great. And she's also great on those CNN panels. He's a comedian. He's an actor. And you see him on a lot of these CNN panels as well. The awesome John Fogelsang will be joining us on the show tomorrow. How awesome is that? We have some very special guests that are going to be joining us for the remainder of the week, and I will announce that tomorrow. We already have, every day we have lined up some very special guests, but John Fogelsang is going to be joining us tomorrow. He's great. Listen, I get a lot of people every day. Every day they'll email me, Brian, I love the show, just like the calls we got. Love the show, Brian. I'm new to your show. I love it. So here's what you can do to help me out and support me. Go to the website, which is pushingthelimits.live. That website is pushingthelimits.live. I sell merchandise on there, Pushing the Limits gear, hats, mugs, beanies. You're supporting me when you make those purchases. You could also make a donation. You see the link right there at the bottom. Make a donation, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever you can afford. We appreciate it. I do not sell Trump Bibles on there. No Shapiro Bibles either. Also, thanks to everyone in the YouTube Super Chat for your support. We are now at 105,000 subs on YouTube, and it's continuing to rise, and we appreciate that. So thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate your support on PTL Nation. We'll see you tomorrow with John Fogelsang. Same time, same place. See you later, everybody.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout.